Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a quick process video for you today. This is working through day 7 of Subject to Change from Bythewell4God. You can see I kind of have this little section here where I'm dealing with both a bag and another little paper as kind of a tip-in. I'm just going to kind of leave those more as accents for the other side of the page and just kind of work with the back side of this striped paper and this white page. So I'm pulling out some Distress Oxide inks here because I'm going to put an ink background on here. Everybody, loves the smooshing technique. I would do this normally like in my actual book, but it's really hard. Didn't want to get it on all the other pages and stuff. So this is just a really great way to get a good background on your pages. So I am using Scattered Straw and Squeezed Lemonade here. I just put those down onto some packaging, sprayed some water, and now I'm just going in here with these two colors, trying to get them to blend a little bit, just to kind of knock back some of the brightness of the Squeezed Lemonade, and just to give it a little bit more visual interest with some different hues, and picking up a little bit of this ink with a die cut that I have set off to the side for another day. And now I'm going to come in with peeled paint and bundled sage and do the same thing. Bundled sage is one of my favorite colors, but it has, when it oxidizes, it has kind of a like a blue tint to it. And so I didn't really have enough water on my little sheet here at this time, so I kind of ended up with this little blob of green down the middle, but it's not going to matter. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just adding color, trying to get color all the way to the edges. So I dried that, and now I'm going to go back in with the second layer of the same colors. I'm trying to get most of that white space covered. Not completely, but I do want to get most of it covered for the rest of the background that I want to do. So now, at first I just kind of plopped down some color. Now I'm being a little bit more intentional. You can see I had to add some more water. I just didn't have enough on my little acetate sheet here. And so now I'm just being more intentional about where I'm layering these colors, because when they start to react with each other, they're going to oxidize and do all kinds of fun things. But I'm also trying to make sure I'm getting all that white space color covered. So now I'm coming in just to add some more like visual texture here. But with this, I sprayed some water droplets onto this page, and I'm just going to let it sit and react just for a minute, and then I will mop that up with my paper towel, and you just get little droplets. It's hard to see on the camera, but I'm sure you've seen people do it far better than I am. And then I'm coming in with my little fan brush and picking up some of this leftover yellow ink, and now I'm just adding little droplets and splatters of this on this paper, and I added a little bit over on the striped paper, which is really kind of hard to see. And then I'm going to come in now with the green peeled paint, and now I'm going to add splatters on both pages as well, just to add another layer. The more layers that you do with oxide colors, the better. It just gets more and more interesting every layer. So I'm adding some splatters over there just to kind of bring everything in together. And now I'm going to pull in my stencil. This is the one that you could get that coordinated with the kit, and I'm going to use some crackle paste. This is the opaque version from just Tim Holtz, and I'm just scooping this up with my palette knife. My page is kind of bumpy, obviously, because it's been wet, and so I am just making sure I'm holding this down really well, and I'm smearing this crackle paste around. As you can see, I'm working straight in this traveler's notebook, so I haven't gessoed the pages. I haven't done anything to it. This is just the good paper quality that comes in these traveler's notebooks. They can take a pretty good bit of media on them. So I did all of the distress inks, and now I'm coming in here with this crackle paste, and just kind of going around and filling in these areas where my stencil just wasn't quite wide enough. And I'm just trying to be careful that I don't, smush the area where I have already laid the stenciling. And what's going to happen is, because these are oxide colors and they react with water, they're going to pull up, this crackle paste is going to pull up some of that color. And so you can see, you just get this really neat dimension this way. If you wanted to keep that like bright white, I would use maybe like a distress paint that's not going to react with the crackle medium when you put it on. But I just wanted kind of a subtle difference on there. You can kind of, and so it's light and dark, and you can kind of see in between the cracks on it. Kind of hard to capture on film, but I really like how that turned out. And then I just went around and distressed the edges, and then I forgot to turn my camera back on. I also sewed on that little piece of fabric that was actually from one of the bow clips over there on the left, just to bring in some green over there. And I have already written out all my scriptures and my notes off camera. And I just feel like I want a little bit of some more interest here. I'm going to grab a couple of these ephemera pieces just to add something else to kind of tie these two pages together. So I ended up choosing this lemon for the left side, and then that cluster over there on the right, and just trimmed those down and added some distress ink around them. And then I'm gluing this lemon one straight to the paper. You can see I kind of have that flashcard tucked behind the fabric, and I'm just holding this together while I glue this so that I make sure I'm getting it, you know, kind of layered how I want it. And then I will glue that down just kind of tucked under the ruffle. And then I will glue the lemon over the top of that. You can see originally I had that scripture written out on the back of the flashcard. I thought that's how I was going to use it, but I ended up deciding I wanted to write it out. So I just used a little journaling card that I had in my stash and just wrote the scripture out again another time, which is no problem. And then I'm going to glue this little lemon piece down here. And I also have a little strip of pattern paper down there at the bottom. And I also added it to the bottom of this journaling card. And I'm going to adhere this piece with some foam tape, just because this side is so textured. So I just kind of added that over in the corner, and I'm going to trim. You can see all of that leaked through to the back because I did have it really saturated with water, but I'm not going to worry about that. I can cover that up with some pattern paper. It's not going to be an issue. So I'm trying to get this to stick down, like I said, because there was so much texture. It was just a little bit tricky. And then I just used that card to make a pocket for some other notes and scriptures, and I just tucked that in, and that pretty much does it for me. I am going to add that this is day 7. I'm using the tile alphas for that. I'm just going to use the green ones here, and I'm going to indicate this is day 7, and that will be the end of my page. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.